The unstoppable power of purpose unlocking the life you were born to live. The wake-up call you never expected. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must stop, look at themselves in the mirror, and ask the most dangerous yet necessary question: why am I here? If you've never asked yourself this, you're not truly alive. If you wake up every morning and go through the motions of life, working a job you don't love, surrounded by people who drain your energy, living for weekends and dreading Mondays, then let me tell you something. You are existing, not living. My friend, life is not meant to be endured. It is meant to be fulfilled. Your very existence is proof that you were created for a divine purpose. There is something in you that the world has never seen before. But the tragedy is that most people will die without ever discovering what that is. Today, I came to disrupt your thinking, shake you out of mediocrity, and introduce you to the version of yourself that you have never met. Point 1, the cemetery holds more potential than the world. If I asked you, where is the richest place on earth, what would you say? Some might say the oil fields of the Middle East. Others might say the gold mines of Africa or the stock market in New York. But I tell you, the wealthiest place on earth is the cemetery. Why? Because buried in the cemetery are books never written, businesses never started, ideas never shared, songs never sung, cures never discovered, and potential never realized. People died full of dreams but empty of action. And the saddest reality is that many of us are living a life where we are constantly delaying, hesitating, and making excuses until one day we run out of time. Listen to me. You were not born to die, fool. You were born to die empty. God placed gifts inside of you that must be poured out before you leave this earth. You are not here to pay bills and die. You are not here to just survive. You are here to make an impact. Point 2, your comfort zone is your coffin. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. If you stay in a place where everything is familiar, where you are never stretched, where you don't have to take risks, you will die in that place. Every great person who has ever changed the world, whether in science, business, sports, or fate, had to step into uncertainty. They had to break free from the chains of comfort. Abraham had to leave his home to walk into the unknown. Moses had to face Pharaoh. David had to fight Goliath. Jesus had to step into the wilderness before stepping into his purpose. And you? What is your comfort zone? What is the thing you keep running back to because it feels safe? It may be a job you hate but refuse to leave. It may be a toxic relationship that you stay in because you're afraid to be alone. It may be a dream that you keep postponing because you're afraid of failing. But let me tell you something. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. Point 3, fear is the greatest liar. Fear whispers lies to you every day. It tells you you're not good enough. You'll never succeed. No one will support you. What if you fail? Fear is a prophet of the enemy. It always predicts a future of failure and disaster. But here's the truth. Fear is a lie. You have already survived everything life has thrown at you so far. And if you've made it this far, why stop now? Fear is not real. It is only an illusion that stops you from stepping into your destiny. Your success is on the other side of fear. Point 4, you don't need permission to be great. Some of you are waiting for someone to approve your dream before you chase it. You are waiting for a parent to say, I believe in you. You are waiting for a friend to support your vision. You are waiting for the right time, the right circumstances, the right connections. Stop waiting. You do not need permission to be great. You do not need validation from anyone to start walking in your purpose. The moment you stop seeking approval from others is the moment you become unstoppable. Point 5, legacy over lifestyle. Most people chase lifestyle, cars, money, fame, comfort, but the greatest people chase legacy. Legacy is about what you leave behind. It is about making an impact that outlives you. It is about serving something greater than yourself. And what will people say about you when you're gone? Will they say you lived selfishly, or will they say you changed lives? Conclusion, the decision is yours. Today, you have a choice. You can walk away from this moment, go back to your routine, and continue existing, or you can make a decision to live. You can decide that from this day forward, you will no longer waste time. You will no longer live in fear. You will no longer wait for permission. You will no longer play small. You will step out in faith. You will take risks. You will pursue purpose over pleasure. And when the time comes for you to leave this earth, you will not die full of potential. You will die empty, having given the world everything God put inside of you. My friend, the choice is yours. You're right. The most valuable land on earth. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine a place so rich, so full of potential, so overflowing with unrealized greatness, that if you could tap into it, you would change the course of history. It is not the diamond mines of South Africa. It is not the oil fields of the Middle East. It is not the stock markets of New York or the technology hubs of Silicon Valley. The richest place on earth is the cemetery. Yes, the graveyard. Because buried in that sacred ground are books that were never written, businesses that were never started, songs that were never sung, and ideas that were never shared. The world never got to experience them because someone carried them to their grave. The graveyard is full of people who lived beneath their potential, who allowed fear to silence their dreams, who let procrastination rob them of their purpose. It is filled with talents that were never cultivated, solutions that were never discovered, and visions that were never executed. And my question to you today is this: will you be one of them? Will the cemetery claim your gifts, your ideas, and your potential? Or will you decide today, right now, that you will pour out every ounce of your potential before you leave this earth? The tragedy of a life unlived. It is not death that we should fear. It is a life that never truly began. It is possible to live and yet never truly be alive. Many people breathe, but they do not live. They wake up, go to work, go home, watch TV, and repeat the cycle, never activating the power inside of them. But let me tell you something. God did not place you on this earth just to exist. He placed you here to fulfill something, to build something, to create something, to contribute something that no one else can. You were designed with purpose. Your gifts are divine deposits that heaven expects a return on. God has given you something to offer this world, and if you do not release it, you are robbing humanity. That is why Jesus said in John 9:04, I must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. The night is coming when no one can work. You see, your time is limited. You do not have forever to fulfill your calling. Every day you delay, you bury another seed of potential in the graveyard of lost dreams. The burden of unused potential. Let me tell you what real frustration is. Frustration is knowing you were created for more but never seeing it happen. It is feeling the weight of something great inside of you but never manifesting it. Have you ever had an idea that excited you but you never acted on it? Have you ever had a vision so clear in your mind but fear made you keep it locked away? Have you ever looked at your life and said, I know there's more in me, but I don't know how to bring it out? That is the burden of unused potential. Potential is what you could do but haven't done. It is what you could become but haven't become yet. The danger of potential is that it remains just that, potential, unless you make a decision to act on it. You must die empty. My friend, I want you to make a commitment today. You will die empty. What do I mean by that? I mean that when you leave this world, you will have nothing left inside of you. You will not take your ideas, your books, your dreams, your businesses, or your innovations to the grave. You will not die full of potential. You will die empty, having poured out everything God placed inside of you. Miles Davis once said, "The greatest sin is to die with your music still inside you." Some of you are sitting on music, on inventions, on businesses, on ministries, on books, on solutions to problems the world is facing. But instead of releasing them, you are hoarding them inside of you out of fear. It is time to stop holding back. The three enemies of potential. There are three enemies that will try to bury your potential before you even die. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of stepping out. Fear will keep you stuck while your destiny calls you forward. Procrastination, the belief that you have more time than you actually do. Tomorrow is not promised. Act now. Doubt, believing you are not good enough, smart enough, or talented enough. If God gave you the vision, He has already given you the ability. You must conquer these enemies if you want to fulfill your purpose. Activate your purpose today. So what must you do? How do you ensure that you will not take your potential to the grave? Discover your assignment. What problem were you born to solve? What passion burns inside of you? That is your assignment. Develop your gifts. Your gifts are raw materials. Refine them, sharpen them, and use them to make an impact. Take action immediately. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. Surround yourself with the right people. You need people who challenge you, inspire you, and push you toward greatness. Leave a legacy. Live in such a way that when you die, your work will still be speaking. Conclusion. Will you be remembered? One day, someone will walk past your grave. What will they say about you? Will they say, "Here lies a person who lived beneath their potential"? Or will they say, "Here lies a person who changed the world"? Do not let the cemetery steal what God has placed inside of you. Live full and die empty, because the world does not need another grave full of potential. It needs you to fulfill your destiny. I challenge you today. What will you do with the time you have left? Your comfort zone is your coffin. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something today that will change your life forever. The greatest enemy of your future is not failure. It is not poverty. It is not even opposition. The greatest enemy of your destiny is your comfort zone. Yes, your comfort zone is not just a place of ease. It is a silent killer of dreams. It is the coffin where untapped potential is buried, the grave where greatness suffocates, and the prison that holds hostage the people who were meant to shake nations. Think about it. Everything that is alive must grow. Everything that is designed to be great must be tested, must be stretched, must be challenged. But the problem is that many people refuse to leave the place of comfort because comfort feels safe. Comfort feels familiar. Comfort gives you an illusion of peace while robbing you of your purpose. But let me ask you, what is the purpose of a coffin? A coffin is not designed for the living. A coffin is a place where dead things are put to rest. And I am here to tell you today that if you choose to remain in your comfort zone, you have already surrendered to a slow and silent death. Greatness has never been buried in comfort. No history maker ever changed the world while sitting in the familiar. No visionary ever transformed nations by staying where they were safe. The comfort zone is where dreams are buried. The comfort zone is where callings are aborted. The comfort zone is where purpose is suffocated. Look at an eagle. An eagle never learns to fly in the comfort of the nest. No, when the time comes, the mother eagle stirs the nest. She removes the soft feathers, the warmth, the safety, and makes the nest so uncomfortable that the baby eagle is forced to spread its wings. Why? Because if the eagle stays in the nest, it will never soar. The same is true for you. If your life is too comfortable, you are not growing. If you are too familiar with your surroundings, you are not learning. If you are not being challenged, you are not being stretched toward greatness. Do you remember the story of Abraham? God told him, leave your father's house, leave your country, go to the land that I will show you. In other words, leave your comfort zone. Why? Because the place of comfort was not where his destiny was. Your destiny is never found where you are comfortable. Your future is not waiting for you in the familiar. Your next level is always outside of your comfort zone. The Bible tells us that faith without works is dead. Many people have faith but refuse to step out. They believe in God's promises, but they refuse to take action. But faith is a journey, not a destination. Faith requires movement. Faith demands risk. Faith calls you out of the boat. Do you remember Peter? As long as he was in the boat, he was comfortable, but he was never walking on water. It was not until he stepped out of the boat that he experienced the miraculous. So I want to ask you today, what is your boat? What is keeping you comfortable? What are you refusing to let go of because you are afraid? Many people refuse to leave their comfort zones because they fear failure. But let me tell you something. Failure is not the enemy. Stagnation is the enemy. If you fail, you learn. If you fail, you grow. But if you stay comfortable, you rot. Let me challenge you with this. Are you living or are you just existing? If you are not growing, you are not living. If you are not stretching, you are not fulfilling your potential. If you are not moving forward, you are moving backward. I believe that some of you listening to me right now are standing at the edge of a breakthrough, but you are afraid to step forward. You are afraid to take that risk, afraid to leave that toxic environment, afraid to pursue that vision. But I came to tell you, your destiny is waiting for you outside of your comfort zone. You were not born to live an average life. You were not created to settle. You were not designed to remain in mediocrity. You were born for greatness. But greatness will never be found in comfort. Greatness is found in the place of faith. Greatness is found in the place of sacrifice. Greatness is found in the place of courage. You remember the story of Abraham? God told him, leave your father's house, leave your country, go to the land that I will show you. In other words, leave your comfort zone. Why? Because the place of comfort was not where his destiny was. Your destiny is never found where you are comfortable. Your future is not waiting for you in the familiar. Your next level is always outside of your comfort zone. The Bible tells us that faith without works is dead. Many people have faith but refuse to step out. They believe in God's promises, but they refuse to take action. But faith is a journey, not a destination. Faith requires movement. Faith demands risk. Faith calls you out of the boat. Do you remember Peter? As long as he was in the boat, he was comfortable, but he was never walking on water. It was not until he stepped out of the boat that he experienced the miraculous. So I want to ask you today, what is your boat? What is keeping you comfortable? What are you refusing to let go of because you are afraid? Many people refuse to leave their comfort zones because they fear failure. But let me tell you something. Failure is not the enemy. Stagnation is the enemy. If you fail, you learn. If you fail, you grow. But if you stay comfortable, you rot. Let me challenge you with this. Are you living or are you just existing? If you are not growing, you are not living. If you are not stretching, you are not fulfilling your potential. If you are not moving forward, you're moving backward. I believe that some of you listening to me right now are standing at the edge of a breakthrough, but you are afraid to step forward. You are afraid to take that risk, afraid to leave that toxic environment, afraid to pursue that vision. But I came to tell you, your destiny is waiting for you outside of your comfort zone. You were not born to live an average life. You were not created to settle. You were not designed to remain in mediocrity. You were born for greatness. But greatness will never be found in comfort. Greatness is found in the place of faith. Greatness is found in the place of sacrifice. Greatness is found in the place of courage. So today I challenge you, bury your comfort zone before it buries you. Leave that place of complacency before it suffocates your dreams. Break free from the prison of familiarity before it turns into your tomb, and step into the greatness that God has destined for you. Because your comfort zone is your coffin, but your purpose is your resurrection. Fear is the greatest liar. It is the enemy of progress, the thief of destiny, and the silent killer of dreams. Fear whispers in your ear, convincing you that you are not good enough, that you are incapable, that you are unworthy of success. But let me tell you today that fear is nothing more than a deception, a false prophet that seeks to keep you imprisoned in the walls of mediocrity. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not the ones against external enemies, but the ones against the fear that lurks within you. Fear builds illusions. It makes mountains out of molehills. It turns opportunities into obstacles and dreams into nightmares. It is the invisible prison that holds people back from stepping into their divine purpose. But I am here to tell you today that fear is a liar. And once you expose it for what it truly is, you will realize that it has no power over you. Fear is like a mirage in the desert. It makes you see danger where there is none. It makes you hesitate when you should move forward. It tells you that you will fail before you even begin. But I want you to understand that fear is not real. It is a product of the mind, the creation of doubt and insecurity. The only way fear can win is if you believe its lies. The greatest men and women who ever walked this earth were not people without fear, but people who refused to bow to it. They looked fear in the eye and said, I will not be deceived. I will not be stopped. I will not let you determine my future. History is not made by those who shrink back. It is made by those who push forward despite the trembling in their knees and the pounding in their hearts. Look at the stories of Moses, David, Esther, and Paul. Every one of them faced situations where fear could have paralyzed them. Moses stood before the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army behind him, and fear whispered, you are trapped. But God said, stretch out your hand and see my power. David stood before Goliath, and fear said, he is too big. But faith said, he is too big to miss. Esther stood before the king, knowing her life was at risk. And fear said, you will die. But courage said, if I perish, I perish, but I must do what I am called to do. Paul was shipwrecked, beaten, and imprisoned, but he never let fear stop him from fulfilling his purpose. You see, fear will always be present, but the question is, will you listen to it? Will you allow it to dictate your actions? Will you let it rob you of your potential? You have to make a decision today to silence fear, to reject its lies, and to walk in faith, because fear and faith cannot coexist. Fear tells you to shrink back, but faith tells you to step forward. Fear says it is impossible, but faith says all things are possible. Fear says you will fail, but faith says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Fear is also a master manipulator. It will disguise itself as caution, as wisdom, as logic. But deep inside, you know when fear is trying to keep you from stepping into what you were created to do. You were not created to live a small life. You were not created to hide in the shadows. You were created to be a light, to shine, to lead, to conquer, to take dominion. But fear wants you to believe that you are powerless. Let me tell you something about fear. The moment you decide to confront it is the moment it begins to lose its grip on you. The moment you decide to act despite your fears is the moment you break free from its chains. Every great success, every great breakthrough, every great achievement has come from someone who was willing to do what they feared, to step into the unknown and trust that God would be with them. The Bible tells us over and over again, do not fear, be strong and courageous, fear not. Why? Because God knows that fear is the greatest enemy of faith. If you listen to fear, you will miss your destiny. If you obey fear, you will never walk in your calling. But if you silence fear and move forward in faith, you will see doors open. You will see miracles happen. You will see mountains move. Fear is a liar. It tells you that you are alone, but God says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Fear tells you that you will fail, but God says, I have plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Fear tells you that you are weak, but God says, my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Fear tells you that you are not good enough, but God says, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. The enemy wants you to believe that fear is bigger than your purpose. But I am here to declare to you today that your purpose is greater than your fear. Your calling is stronger than your insecurity. Your destiny is more powerful than your doubts. So do not let fear stop you. Do not let fear silence you. Do not let fear steal what God has placed inside of you. Rise up today and declare, fear will not rule my life. I will not be held back. I will not be intimidated. I will not be deceived. I will walk in faith. I will move forward. I will step into my purpose, because greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Fear is the greatest liar, but today you have the power to silence it. Stand up, step out, and walk boldly into your destiny. There is a dangerous mindset that has crippled generations. It is the belief that you need someone else to validate your greatness, that you must wait for approval before you can walk in the destiny God has already assigned to you. But I came to tell you today that the greatest tragedy in life is not death. The greatest tragedy is a life that was never lived because it was waiting for permission. Look around you. The world is filled with people who died with their dreams still inside them. People who never wrote the book, never started the business, never spoke up, never stepped out because they were waiting for someone to say, you are qualified. But let me ask you, who gave permission to Abraham when God told him to leave his father's house? Who gave permission to David to fight Goliath when an entire army stood in fear? Who gave permission to Joseph to dream when his own brothers despised him? The truth is that God himself has already given you permission. He formed you, he placed gifts inside of you, and he set you on this earth with a divine purpose. The problem is that we have been conditioned to seek validation from others before we act. But what if I told you that the very people you are waiting on for permission are struggling with their own insecurities and fears? What if I told you that some of them see the greatness in you but will never admit it because they fear what you could become? Listen carefully. If you live for the approval of people, you will die by their rejection. If you wait for the world to recognize your potential before you step into it, you will spend your life in the waiting room of destiny. God did not create you to be ordinary. He created you to manifest his greatness on this earth. But the enemy wants to keep you in a prison of doubt. He whispers, who do you think you are? You are not smart enough. You are not talented enough. No one in your family has ever done this. But here is the truth. The enemy is afraid of what you will become if you ever discover who you truly are. That is why he fights so hard to keep you distracted, discouraged, and doubtful. You must understand that the moment you decide to walk in greatness, opposition will come. Not everyone will celebrate your decision. Some will mock you. Some will try to remind you of your past. Some will even try to discourage you. But you must be bold enough to say, I refuse to let the opinions of others determine my destiny. Consider Jesus himself. When he walked on this earth, the religious leaders rejected him. The people misunderstood him. Even his own disciples doubted him at times. But did he wait for their approval before fulfilling his mission? No. He walked in his purpose because he knew who he was and why he was sent. And so today I challenge you to break free from the mindset of waiting. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you are ready. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect opportunity. Stop waiting for a title before you act like a leader. Stop waiting for a degree before you start using the wisdom God has already placed inside of you. Stop waiting for applause before you take the first step. You do not need permission to be great. The only permission you need is the one that has already been given by God. And he has already declared that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. He has already declared that you are the head and not the tail. He has already declared that you are more than a conqueror. So walk in confidence. Walk in purpose. Walk in the knowledge that you were created for something greater than what the world wants to limit you to. If God placed the vision in you, then he has already equipped you for it. You don't need permission from man to become what God has already declared over your life. The time is now. No more waiting, no more hesitating, no more doubting. Step out and walk in your greatness. There is a difference between living and existing. There is a difference between having success and having significance. Too many people today are chasing a lifestyle instead of building a legacy. But I came to tell you today that you were not born just to make a living. You were born to make a difference. What do you want to be remembered for? What will they say about you when you are gone? The truth is we spend so much of our time trying to accumulate things that will not outlive us. We chase money, fame, material, possessions, but none of these things will follow us to the grave. Have you ever seen a U-Haul truck following a hearse? No, because no matter how much you accumulate in this life, you cannot take it with you. But what you leave behind, that is what truly matters. It's your time that matters. It's what you tell people that is what matters most. The tragedy of life is not death. The tragedy is to live without purpose, to leave this earth without making an impact. Some people work hard just to buy bigger houses, better cars, nicer clothes. But I ask you this, will your house speak for you when you are gone? Will your car tell the next generation what you stood for? Will your designer clothes inspire a young person to dream? No, because those things will fade, but your impact will last. Look at the great men and women of history. They did not live just for themselves. They lived for something greater than themselves. Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa. They did not live for luxury. They lived for legacy. Their names are remembered not because of what they had, but because of what they gave. Jesus himself lived this principle. He did not come to build a mansion or to collect wealth. He came to leave a legacy that would change the world. And today, over 2,000 years later, his influence is still shaping lives because he understood that legacy is greater than lifestyle. Now, I ask you, what are you building? What will your children and grandchildren say about you? Will they remember you as someone who just lived for themselves or as someone who made an impact in their lives? Will they inherit your possessions or will they inherit your wisdom, your values, your faith? Legacy is not about what you leave for people. It is about what you leave in people. If you build your life only for yourself, then your success dies with you. But if you pour into others, if you mentor, teach, inspire, and lead, then your legacy will continue long after you are gone. Do not get caught in the trap of temporary success. True success is not measured by how much you have. It is measured by how much you give. It is not about how high you climb, but about how many people you lift up along the way. If your dream only benefits you, then your dream is too small. But if your dream impacts generations, then you have found your true purpose. The world does not need more rich people, it needs more impactful people. The world does not need more fame seekers, it needs more legacy builders. The question is, will you be one of them? So today I challenge you, shift your mindset from lifestyle to legacy. Stop living just to impress people. Start living to inspire them. Stop chasing things that fade. Start building something that lasts. Let your life be a seed that grows into a tree that provides shade for future generations. Because in the end, it is not about how much you had. It is about how much you gave. It is not about how you lived. It is about what you left behind. Choose legacy over lifestyle and watch how your life will outlive you.